I'm Daisy Fancourt and I'm Professor of Psychobiology and Epidemiology at University College London. And I came into this field of arts and health research initially from the arts side, working as a professional pianist, coming from a family of musicians. But like many people I think in the arts, I also loved science. So I managed to find a career that allowed me to combine these. I worked initially in the NHS on the design of performing arts programmes in hospitals. And then I actually decided to retrain in science in order to actually be able to explore why and how these programmes were having such incredible effects that I was getting to witness every day. And now I lead the Social Biobehavioural Research Group at University College London, where we're the World Health Organization Collaborating Centre on Arts and Health. I still engage in music on a regular basis, particularly now I have young children, which gives a wonderful opportunity to rediscover music and art through their eyes. I've also recently been trying to take up new creative hobbies, so I've been trying my hand at embroidery and quilting, which I would say are very much emerging skills for me, but things I've really very much enjoyed getting to try. I also regularly go to the theatre, I read avidly, and I'm always on the lookout for new opportunities to try new creative experiences. ArtCure is a celebration of over 40 years of incredible scientific research looking at how the arts influence our health. And it's also inspired by the 15 years that I've spent working in this field, seeing firsthand through research and also through witnessing the incredible programmes that are happening all around the world, just how influential the arts can be. ArtCure celebrates all kinds of art, from theatre to music to dance to textiles, crafts, visual arts, literature, and also things like circus arts, carnivals, horticulture, even things like culinary arts as well. It considers how all these different activities can affect our health in different ways, depending on where we're going to watch something or whether we are actively participating ourselves. ArtCure proposes that the arts are a fundamental pillar of health, just like physical activity, diet and sleep. And it considers how the arts have a really important role to play, both in the prevention of mental and physical illness, supporting our well-being, helping to support the promotion of good health in individuals and within societies, and also how the arts can actually help to tackle some of the symptoms and the management of both mental and physical health conditions. And it looks at the science of how and why these effects occur, and also how we can actually use that science to make changes in our own lives, day to day, in how we use the arts and as societies, in terms of how we integrate the arts into health and healthcare. Even engaging in the arts just for a few minutes can have effects on our health, like helping us to reduce symptoms of stress or regulate our emotions or increase our momentary happiness. But if we engage regularly over long periods of time, we see benefits extending over years and decades of our lives from that engagement. And in the book, I even give some examples of where the arts can be the difference between life and death, whether that's helping to prevent suicides or being used as a critical way of communicating health messages during health emergencies. ArtCure covers the latest in scientific research on the health benefits of the arts, results from epidemiological statistical studies, from neuroimaging, from physiological monitoring, wearable monitors, as well as from qualitative and ethnographic data that shows how the arts are experienced day to day in people's health. But ArtCure also challenges some of the examples where actually the literature doesn't stand up to scrutiny. Some of the myths that we might have heard about the arts actually don't bear up when we use really strong scientific methods. And it makes a point of dismantling some of the claims that could actually even be damaging if people take these seriously when there aren't those health benefits actually underlying them. One of the common questions in approaching arts and health literature is it actually the arts? Or is it just the fact that when people engage in the arts, it's a way that they're being physically active or socially interacting? Or is it even due to them, the type of person that does art? Does that mean that they've got higher levels of wealth or better health in the first place? But actually in ArtCure, I discuss some of the science that's directly addressed some of these questions. For example, randomising people to arts and to very similar non-arts activities that share the same ingredients, actually still showing that arts interventions can have the edge for health benefits. and also looking at the latest in the statistical methods that help us to disentangle that the effects of the arts on our health are not just down to our backgrounds, but are actually often experienced most in people who are living in areas of greatest deprivation with the greatest health needs. When we engage in arts activities, we have a combination of ingredients that we're experiencing, some of which are found in other activities, physical activities, social interaction, cognitive stimulation, and some of which are more strongly expressed in the arts, like aesthetic engagement, multisensory stimulation, creativity and imagination. The arts are really powerful vehicles for bringing all these different ingredients together, and also often the fact that they are an arts activity, not a medical activity, mean that they can be much more engaging, less stigmatizing, more fun for people to engage with. At the end of each chapter, I have a section called Daily Dose, where we consider what science tells us about how we can use the arts to address the specific mental or physical health challenges that have been discussed in each chapter. But Art Cure also recognises that many people don't engage in the arts just for their health. They do it for the pure love of it. And so at the end of the book, I consider much more broadly, how could we all just engage in more arts if we want to, for that pure pleasure? Considering how we can identify the barriers we might be experiencing in our own lives and how we can overcome them so that we get to enjoy the arts more. A common question is how much you have to do the arts in order to experience health benefits. But really it comes down to what kind of health benefits you're hoping to experience. We can have benefits from just very short amounts of engagement, even for a few minutes, for example, in terms of things like relaxing us. But we have to be realistic that those benefits aren't going to last very long if it was a very short experience. What we often find in the research studies is that if people are engaging in activities regularly, so at least on a weekly basis, over a period of several weeks or months, you can start to see effects building, gathering momentum. And of course, if we want to be seeing longer term health benefits, so reduced risk of developing mental or physical health conditions or better preservation of cognition, for example, those are outcomes that really rely on sustained engagement over long periods of months and years. So it's a good impetus for people to consider the benefits of trying to find new ways of engaging with the arts, not as a short-term health fix, but actually as something that they can be investing in like they would with other health behaviours for their future health. What Art Cure is not suggesting is that we should just be engaging in the arts as a way of supporting health. This isn't about instrumentalising the arts or making them a tool of health. And we can think instead about how we consider physical activity. Many of us will go on walking holidays or will go swimming, not thinking at all about our health, but just because we really love those activities and we find them fun. But equally, on a really sedentary day, we often do think about our step counts. We might walk rather than get the bus. If we're feeling stressed, we might remember that going for a run is something that relaxes us. And I really am trying to pitch Art Cure and arts in the same way there. So thinking both about the very specific aspects of health and giving ourselves almost permission to prioritise the arts day to day, recognising it does have those health benefits, but at the same time making sure that we still preserve our arts engagement for the pure love and joy of it. One of the things I try and do with Art Cure is give the scientific evidence to back up some of the things we may intuitively already know we experience when we engage in the arts. So many people say that the arts helps to relax them. And actually science shows us this isn't just something that we perceive psychologically. If we're engaging in relaxing arts activities, we actually see reductions in autonomic nervous system activity, the activity of nerves within our body that control things like our heart rate and our blood pressure. We also see reductions in neuroendocrine activity, so the release of hormones such as cortisol involved in stress response. We also see reductions in inflammation in our immune system, which relates both to feelings of stress but also to feelings of low moods. And we even see changes in the pattern of our gene expression, which give an indication of reversals in stress signatures. So all of this helps to show that the perceptions that we have about the health benefits of the arts are actually seen at very deep biological, physiological levels. One of the things Art Cure celebrates is the incredible work that is already happening all across the world, particularly in the UK, which I'm most familiar with it, in terms of artists and arts organisations delivering programmes day to day for people to engage with. But one of the things the book also highlights is some of the challenges that we have in society in terms of the way that we value the role of the arts and artists, the way that we fund it, the working conditions that we provide. But ArtCure shows that the work of artists and arts organisations and communities is already delivering not just health benefits, but also health economic benefits. And it makes the case for why investing in the arts is actually an investment in health and society much more broadly. In the final chapter of the book, I propose that if people want to increase their arts engagement, they can think about it in the same way they think about their diet. So considering, is there a 5-a-day equivalent, a simple rule that they can apply to make sure that they make the space for arts engagement, even in a busy day? Can they make sure they have a diversity of ingredients? In other words, lots of different arts activities that will bring different experiences that they might enjoy in different ways and could benefit their health differently. And also to remember that you don't have to be a good chef in order to enjoy your food. Equally, it doesn't matter if you don't feel that you're very good at the arts or you don't identify as an artistic or creative person. A lot of the benefits of arts engagement are actually about the process of engaging, not the product at the end. In times of austerity, we often see that funding for the arts is one of the things that gets cut. It's seen as a luxury rather than a necessity within society. But one of the arguments that I make in ArtCure is that actually every pound that gets cut in investment in the arts has consequences for health and for healthcare systems. And I talk about economic modelling that has directly showed this impact. Therefore, I argue that we should all be seeing the arts and funding for the arts as actually an investment both in individual and societal health and well-being. In ArtCure, I show how the arts affect every aspect of our minds, brains, bodies and behaviour, from our mental health, the regulation of our emotions, through to things like the development and preservation of cognition, the way that we process movements. It affects every single organ system within the body, our respiratory system, immune system, endocrine system, cardiometabolic system, even affecting the expression of our genes and our rates of biological ageing. But I also show how arts engagement is related to our other behaviours, how the arts can strengthen skills that influence how we engage in other health-promoting activities, meaning that when we engage in the arts, we really are influencing our whole health and well-being.